Good morning, friends. Welcome back to Astrology Today. My name is Mel Rose, and I'm here to share your daily aspects. Today is Wednesday, March 16, 2022, and the Sun is in Pisces, as are Jupiter and Neptune and Mercury. This is the final week of the Sun's transit through Pisces, and generally this is a time of reflection and play, a time of rest. We're at the end of the zodiac cycle. We're actually in the last week of the zodiac cycle, and the new zodiac year begins next week on March 20th. This week on March 20th, with the Spring Equinox, guys. Here it comes. So this has been a good time, like I said, for play and rest and reflection. With Jupiter and Neptune both also in Pisces, those are Pisces co-ruling planets, and that has really intensified the effect of playfulness and creativity, and our time to relax and reflect as well. So this really represents like an expanded flow of inspiration and connection in the sign of Pisces that uses inspiration and connection to create positive things for ourselves. And I want to mention that Jupiter and Neptune, being Pisces co-rulers, are going to remain in Pisces after the Sun goes into Aries next week. Jupiter will be there until May of this year, and then it will come back to Pisces for a little while after its retrograde or later in the year in October and November. So we're going to vacillate with Jupiter between Pisces and Aries this year, and that's kind of interesting because that's moving back and forth between sort of growth in our lives through creativity, through creative endeavors, and then growth in our lives through like action and forward motion. And the Neptune is going to remain in Pisces until January of 2026. So this expanded flow, this intensification of inspiration, of connection to spirit is really going to stay with us. It just won't have the spotlight of our attention on it so much. And then Mercury will be in Pisces until April 8th of this year, so just another few weeks. And Mercury is also going to make a sextile with Uranus tomorrow. So what that says to us, Mercury in Pisces makes us a little more creative in our communications, a little more attracted to unconventional ways of expressing ourselves, but that can also come at the expense of like some directness, some ability to say directly what we mean. But with Mercury sextile Uranus coming up tomorrow, that's really also going to help us bring in some new ideas. So while we're in this sort of playful, creative vibe, even with our thoughts, plans, and communications, we're going to get some fresh ideas, some fresh inspiration, and that's going to help us, bring about some more ideas for positive shifts and changes that we can make in the direction of our goals, our dreams, our intentions. So that's the Sun in Pisces right now. Just want to remind you, though, that especially in this last week with the Sun in Pisces, these intensified flows of inspiration and creativity just in our outer lives, and especially also in our thoughts, plans, and communications, they're going to be a little intensified. It's sort of like a week in review. We're looking back on it, on the past month, and we're also having conversations about it, and really it's on our minds pretty heavily. And then the moon, the waxing crescent moon in Virgo, will become full on Friday morning at 2:17 a.m. So if you're one of those people who likes to stay up and catch the moment of culmination, you'll actually want to be up late on Thursday night to do it. Otherwise, we get a few days around that culmination to really celebrate the fullness of the moon, when the sun's light is fully reflected brightly on our inner lives, so that we may see and appreciate our own culminations and attainments again, see how we're getting there. And then, with this waxing crescent energy, we're still taking action toward that culmination, that celebration that we want to be able to have with the full of the moon on Thursday night, Friday morning. On and around Thursday night, Friday morning. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and get into the aspects. I just want to remind you there is a key on the side here. All of the symbols, or at least most of the symbols that are on the page, are in the key. So if you're looking for a word or a name or a concept to go with a symbol, that's all right here. Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and touch on all of them as we go through the aspects. And I've divided the page into 2 columns, one for each of our luminaries. The moon sheds light on our inner lives. This is who we are on the inside, our relationship with ourselves, what it feels like to be in our body, our heart, and our mind, and also what it feels like to be at home, who we are at home and in relationship to those people that are at home with us. And the aspects and transits the moon makes are relatively brief, and they have more to do with those things we think, feel, know, and intuit, the stuff that happens on the inside, but that does not necessarily find expression out in the world. The sun, on the other hand, does shed light on our outer lives, and that has more to do with like who we are as we interface with the rest of the world. So our workspace, our social space, our civic space, how do we engage there? What sort of personality facade do we put on out there, but also just how do we relate to other people, and how does the world look and seem and feel to us. And I address the sun's aspects and all the other planets' aspects over here because they have more to do with how we interact with the rest of the world, like in our work, social, and civic spaces. And they also often take longer than these lunar aspects. So with all of that said, we're going to start with the moon today. Central Standard Time, friends, at 9:08 p.m. So these are both evening time aspects. Normally I would put them down here, but I just did it differently today. Call it Uranus shaking things up for me. So at 9:08 p.m. this evening, the moon is going to make an opposition with Mercury. And, this is the tug of war between the heart and the mind, because the moon represents who we are on the inside and really a lot of how we feel. And the Mercury is our personal planet for the intellect. That's our day-to-day thoughts, plans, and communications, as well as like the running around that we do. So it can be sort of hard to know how we feel, express how we feel. We may struggle to communicate. That would be kind of appropriate with Mercury and Pisces anyway. Sometimes Mercury and Pisces, it's funny, that's in my chart. I have Mercury and Pisces, and what it comes across as is I can say directly what I think, but I don't always do it. I often take some time to reflect on how I feel about things before I formulate what I want to say. And that's very much the vibe of Mercury and Pisces, is that sometimes we need a little more time to reflect and sort of formulate what we would say about how we feel, because it's just not on the tip of our tongues. We're not able to express it just immediately. And that brings me back to this, like we're just having a little struggle in the heart with how to say how we feel. We might feel a little bit confused. So it's okay to take the time to work it out, is what I'm saying. It's just a 2-hour aspect. So, if there's something that you feel like you honestly must express and you don't know how to do it, just give it a little bit of time and see what happens. Perhaps it resolves itself, or perhaps you will come up with a loving and creative approach to saying what you need to say, or making the communication, or just making the adjustment for the better in your own life, right? And then this evening at 10:25 p.m., the moon is going to make a trine with Uranus. And this is the inner life again, our hearts and who we are in our homes, in this really ideal functioning vibration with Uranus, which is the planet that shakes things up and helps us awaken to the shifts and changes that we can make in our lives, just to have better functioning for ourselves, get the things that we want for ourselves, want to be, do, and have. So moon in trine with Uranus, this is like synchronicity. You might see some coincidences come about. Definitely, you're going to be feeling that intuitive vibe to make changes, and this is a time to have a change of heart. It is a time also to make changes in the home. Don't forget to communicate with those people that are at home with you. We might be finding that a little bit difficult because we're still in this 2-hour aspect until 11:08, and this comes in at 10:25. So, yes, you can make changes in the heart and the home at this time, and it's pretty much promised not to be chaos when you do. It's a good time to make the plans and to make the shifts in the heart and in the home that are going to help us feel better about functioning. And I want to bring this back around also to this Mercury sextile Uranus that's coming up, because it's going to invite in new themes of just ideas and thoughts and plans that we can make to further our own ability to reach our goals. So, energetic change without the chaos. That sounds really nice. Just being able to intuitively know what needs to change, and to not feel upset about it, and to not have it upset anything in our hearts and homes is the ideal time to be open to those shifts and those awakenings. Then on the sun side of the page, we have in the ongoing column through March 20th, which is Spring Equinox, which is in just 4 days from now, guys. We have Venus conjunct Mars and Jupiter sextile Uranus. So we got both of these at the same time. It was like February 16th and 17th when these both happened, and they're sticking with us basically through the spring equinox. And after that, the aspects will no longer be exact. So they won't actually be conjunct anymore here or sextile anymore here. They'll start drifting apart from each other. And at that time, around March 20th, we will see a lessening of effects, or perhaps even like a culmination of the things that we've been working on here. And then we go into a sort of post-shadow period of a couple of weeks while we're still feeling the effects of those things, and we're sort of tying up the loose ends of the work that we did here so that we can get on into the next phase of inner and outer work toward, having a life that we wish to celebrate. So, Venus conjunct Mars. Venus is our planet for love and money. Or in other words, how do you relate to those things and people that you like, love, and can't get enough of? So Venus is about how do we receive? How do we know what we want, and how do we pull it toward us? How do we attract it toward us, right? And when Venus's energies are amplified, we have extra pulling power, we have extra attractiveness, and we're very good at knowing what we want and how to pull it in our direction. So that's Venus. But then Mars is our planet for initiative, pursuit. It's bold and it's courageous, and it wants to take action. It wants to do. It longs to make conquest. So in the cases where Venus knows what it wants, Mars also will know what it wants. It sees what it wants, and it wants to go for it. So where Venus will try to attract things, Mars will try to achieve things. We'll go after them. So whatever is not falling into our laps at this time, we have the power to really go out and pursue it. Especially if we allow our sense of receptivity to work with our sense of initiative, right? And again, this is conjunct energy. So both of these planets' natural energies are amplified for us right now. We're very effective, goal-oriented machines where, we're setting intentions and we're making goals for ourselves, and there are things that we would like to attain or achieve, and we're able to do that, okay? Exercise willpower in the pursuit of your partnership goals, because while this is about the relationship that you have with yourself, it's also about those partnerships that you're engaged in life. And primarily that would be romantic partnerships and workplace partnerships, but partnerships pop up for us all over the place, okay? The people you're close with among your friends and your family, those people are your partners too, okay? So keep the goals of those partnerships in mind. If you have not had conversation about what those goals are, it's a good time to have a conversation about what those goals are. And don't forget to include play in your collaborations. So both of these planets are in Aquarius, And before this, they were in Capricorn. And both of those signs are ruled by Saturn, although Aquarius is also ruled by Uranus, which is hence our attractedness to sort of unconventional ways of doing things, unconventional ways of attracting and pursuing the things that we desire. So, but Aquarius still ruled by Saturn, and Saturn is still sitting there in Aquarius, transiting Aquarius. So, we can get very serious and very work-oriented about the intentions that we have for these partnerships, these plans and goals that we would like to achieve together and for ourselves. But don't forget to include play. We are Sun in Pisces, Neptune in Pisces. It's a good time to, make sure you get outside and enjoy some sunshine. It's a good time to just, seek to engage in a playful vibration with your partners, because what it does is I'm going to bring it back here, Mercury sextile Uranus, it encourages fresh ideas. Okay, when we play, then we cut loose of that seriousness and the goals, because the problem with being serious about your goals, and you should be serious about your goals. I'm not saying that you shouldn't, okay? But the problem with being only serious about your goals is that you forget to let fresh ideas and inspiration in. And we always need fresh ideas and inspiration. So when we play, our brains and our bodies let go a little bit, and that opens us up to those awakenings, those shakeups that can help us change our mind about how things have to happen in order to get to where we're going. Because when you're trying to manifest something, when you're trying to reach a goal or, attain something grand for yourself, there's nothing wrong with that. You can be dedicated to the goal and you can take the steps toward the goal. But, once you make the plan for how to get there, you have to understand that there's always going to be some variation from the plan. The universe is going to intervene. The community is going to intervene. People are going to intervene, and they're going to be like, oh, wait, but you can't do that until you do this. Or you don't have to do this. Just do that to get there, right? So, you have to be open to those changes. You have to be open to being awakened, to having your eyes open to shifts in the plan that will still lead you toward the same goal. And then Jupiter in this sextile relationship with Uranus is interesting, and keeping in mind that Mercury sextile Uranus is coming up tomorrow. So you're going to have Jupiter and Mercury here together in this sextile, and they are here too. So, I see a conjunct probably coming up soon. Yep, on Sunday, Mercury will go conjunct with Jupiter. So these two are working together with the shifts and changes, the shakeups and the wake-ups that help us plan for ourselves, or help us shift the plan so that we can still reach our goal. Something that came up for me when I was reflecting on Jupiter sextile Uranus is, is it manifestation that you're doing, or is it just materialism? So sometimes when I have been working on manifesting a goal, attaining something I want to achieve, I get so wrapped around the money. How much money do I need to do this? As though I can just get it done all on my own if I just throw enough money at it. And if the world would just throw enough money at me, then all of my goals would be manifested. Or sometimes it's about those things that we want to have. I want an electric vehicle, and I want a pair of diamond earrings. And, it goes on like that. I want to use the finest of moisturizers and makeups for my face, or I want to have, the biggest truck on the block. Okay. So is it manifestation that you're doing? Are you trying to create a good outcome and a good result in your life that helps you feel contented, comforted, sort of supported, or you have the adventure that you need, or you have the things or the experiences that you need? Are you manifesting that, or is it just materialism that you're manifesting? You're just asking the universe for money and cars and jewelry. And it's okay to ask for those things, but it's also not a means to a satisfying end just to have the things. And I think that, you know, our culture is fully ripe with stories of people who got all the things that they wanted, but who didn't find the satisfaction that they desired. So, you know, maintain a focus on what would satisfy you. And another thing that came up was like, what would delight your inner child? Okay, so as we become adults, there are certain things that we want that when we were a kid, we probably didn't even care about. So what, you know, think about the positive expansion that's available to you if you just make changes for the better. What positive expansion really inspires your heart? What would really delight you if you could go back to when you were, you know, 5 or 6 years old, or 11 or 12 years old, and you could say, look at me, this is my life now. What would really delight that child within you with that positive expansion? So those are ways to think about, you know, going toward our goals, setting our intentions, waking up to the things that would actually satisfy our lives and not just our hunger for stuff. Coming up tomorrow, Mercury, I didn't give him his horns, Mercury sextile Uranus. So this is a time when we, you know, we start getting new ideas. Our thoughts are really waking up to the shifts and changes, and our communications start waking up to the shifts and changes, and the plans can be shifted and changed so that our goals seem more attainable and maybe a little more fun to get to as well. I really feel like this moon trine Uranus is setting us up for this Mercury sextile Uranus tomorrow, because we feel that ability to make energetic changes in the heart and the home without any chaos. And now we're going to see that we're able to plan and communicate and think about the shifts and changes we can make, you know, with this really highly functioning, positive vibration that helps us generate good outcomes. And then on Friday, the sun is going to be, the moon will become full in Virgo, but that's early Friday morning again. So if you're one of those that likes to stay up and see the full moon at its culmination point, you'll want to stay up late on Thursday night because it's at like 2:17 in the morning on Friday morning. And then on Sunday, there's a whole lot of other stuff going on Friday and also on Saturday. But then on Sunday, we'll have the sun making ingress to Aries. And I want to point that out because that is the spring equinox, friends. That's when we really celebrate the beginning of spring, and we can see things start to get green in our atmosphere, and we can see the critters start coming out to play again. We have less cold weather, we have longer days. So, you know, as we anticipate coming into the spring, where we're also more action oriented and more direct and forward and wanting to take care of business, you know, we can use this time of reflection at the last few days of the sun's transit through Pisces to really just you know, connect with spirit, connect with ourselves, connect with our communities in a really playful and creative way that helps us bring in fresh inspiration. Okay, and I think that's all I have to say about the aspects today. Thank you so much for being here. If you're still here with me, I don't know how many minutes, 23 minutes in. Gosh, I had a lot to say today. Please like my video, give me a thumbs up. I appreciate you so much for being here. If you have any thoughts, if this brings anything up for you, if you have questions, please leave a message in the comments section below. I will see it and respond to you. I love talking with you guys. And also, you know, if this resonates for you, or if you know somebody who loves astrology or who just is searching for something to resonate with in, you know, in terms of the things that they're experiencing, please share this with them. I sure do appreciate it when you do that. And now I'm going to make the shift to talking a little bit of tarot. First, we're going to talk about the card on the side of the page, and then I'll throw one tarot card for the energies of today. And the tarot card on the side of the page right now is the Ten of Cups. This relates to the last 10 days of the sun's transit through Pisces. And Ten of Cups, Pisces is a water sign. Ten of Cups represents water in tarot. And water is about our emotions and our intuitions, which are sort of two sides of the same coin. And it also includes like our inspiration and our creativity. So inspiration and creativity are two sides of a flow. Inspiration comes in and gets pushed out through creative process, right? So this tells us that somebody has worked hard through intuition, through inspiration, and through creative processes of all kinds to sort of attain a life that feels happy and fulfilled. This represents sort of a deep sense of unity with your family, with your loved ones, but also with your community. And sort of like when you're in that state, everybody feels that emotional satisfaction, and everybody can appreciate what they have created, see how well it is going for them, and really sort of celebrate the good news, right, of our lives going as well as they are. Excuse me for that light. So that's the 10 of Cups, and that's happiness and fulfillment and creative and emotional satisfaction for us. So, what I want to say is that if you're feeling that happiness and that contentment and that creative and emotional satisfaction, and, the flow has been pretty intense lately, just find the things that you have to be grateful for and be grateful for them. Show them appreciation and gratitude. It's not just important. It really, informs our sense of satisfaction. And now I'm going to go ahead and mix up these cards while I remind myself and the cards that the Sun is in Pisces, as are Neptune and Jupiter, Pisces co-ruling planets. So that has really intensified and expanded the vibration of inspiration and creativity, but also sort of playfulness and a time to rest and relax and reflect. Mercury in Pisces, helps us think more than it helps us communicate. It's thoughts, plans, and communications, but it really helps us think creatively, adds some sort of color to the machinations of our minds. The communications can become a little bit difficult, but overall, being more creative, we're going to be able to express something beautiful and new, and I love that. The moon waxing crescent in Virgo, take action. We'll have a full moon in a couple of nights, and actually late tomorrow night. And that'll be a good time, also to be exploring and appreciating the culmination of our goals, the organized and structured way we came about it, the healing that we've been able to do. And Venus conjunct Mars with us through Sunday as well will, help us remember to play in our collaborations and exercise some willpower in the pursuit of our goals with our relationship with ourselves and with the people that we keep close. Jupiter sextile Uranus, expanded opportunities when you make changes for the better. And then on the moon side, little difficult vibe around 9 o'clock in the evening. That little tug of war between the heart and mind can be confusing, but understand that you're also just getting opened up here to some energetic changes, to some shifts, some changes of heart and mind that will also be able to help you think up, dream up new creative ways of expressing yourself and reaching your goals. And that's really positive stuff. So with all of that said, turn this one over. Okay, the Four of Cups. Cups and cups, guys. So a lot of emotion, a lot of inspiration and creativity, a lot of intuition, okay, going on right here. But definitely very emotional vibes with the moon in Pisces, with the sun in Pisces, and that extra sort of Neptune influence there, and Jupiter expanding everything it touches. Four of Cups is really sort of there's a potential that there's a missed opportunity here, and that's in terms of like an offer of love or emotional support that somebody is bringing in. You might be looking at the emotions you're already dealing with and feeling a little overwhelmed or just sort of over being so so emotionally fed all the time. So, you might not see the other offer coming in, or you might just not be interested. You might just be like, yeah, I've had a lot of emotion lately, and I'm really trying to fend off further emotion. I know, like, with the things that are going on in the world, I know people, they got really engaged at first, and then some of them just had to like sort of turn off the TV because it's so emotional and it's so much to take in. So in Pisces, we are really encouraged, and especially at the end here, that intuitive, that inspiration flow, that creative flow, those emotional flows, they can feel a little overwhelming, which I think is something I said toward the beginning of this, but they can feel a little overwhelming. And Pisces also does invite us to relax and to reflect, to process. Drink the cups that you've already got in front of you before you worry about any of the other cups that are coming in. Okay, so please, do take the time to have a conversation with yourself or with your trusted confidant, and talk about your feelings, and reflect on how you're feeling, or journal, or read, or get into your creative practice, so that you can sort of get through the cups that are in front of you and see the positive offers that are coming in. And that brings me back to Uranus waking us up to shifts and changes that we can make, even in the processing of emotion and intuition and creative flow, those changes that we can make in order to have that expanded capacity for creative output. It's okay to be over it. It's okay to take a break from receiving inspiration and especially intuition and emotion. It's okay to sit back and reflect and process what you have before you take on more. Understand, though, that the changes are always coming. And if we try to stagnate in, I had these emotions and I'm just going to deal with these emotions from now on, then that's not really going to work. That's not going to pull us forward. Okay. Don't get stagnated in what you've already experienced, because there are other experiences on the horizon asking you, to expand your concept of what can inspire you and what you can intuit and feel and create. I believe that's all I have to say about that today, so I will leave it here. Again, I appreciate you all so much for showing up every day, and I will see you all back here tomorrow for more Astrology Today. My name is Mel Rose.